Hey gang, we're in here. Welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of Suckerpunch Sunday, where we take a deep dive into a classic fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. And for this week, we're going to do something interesting that I haven't tried before, because I was not of the lucky few who were able to have a Sega Master System back in the day. But we're going to play a game that I've heard a lot about in the last 40 years. We're going to play Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Now, if you're not familiar with this game, I'm not surprised. It came out in 1986, again for the Sega Master System. And it ended up being a game that proved so popular over so long that it has seen a lot of variations, both in terms of being revamped and retooled, but also showing up on next-gen consoles all the way up to and including the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So how this game works is fairly simple. You are a young martial artist. His name is Alex Kidd, even though he looks a little bit almost like a cross between a boy and a chimpanzee with the way his face looks, but I chalked it up to the art of the time. And what you have to do is you got to make it through 17 stages in just 3 lives. That's the kicker about this game. It's not easy. Fortunately, you don't have a timer to deal with, so you can go at your own speed, and there are kind of these little puzzles that you have to figure out as you go to get these different star boxes unlocked so you can get money. And the money is listed as BAUM, B-A-U-M. And they come in different sizes. Now, the real pain in this game, and I've discovered this in my testing it out, is that if you get touched just once, you are dead. You lose a life, and you have to start over from a certain checkpoint. So the degree of difficulty is not small. Now, when this game came out in 86, see if I can bust this block out, finally, thank you. It had to compete directly with the Nintendo Entertainment System at pretty much the peak of its power as the dominant console of the 1980s. And it had to compete with the flagship title of the time, being Super Mario Bros. 1. Now, in a lot of ways, this game has quite a few similarities to Mario Brothers, in that you're playing in a mystical land. You've got to be able to work your way past different baddies and not get destroyed. But as you can see, that's pretty much where the comparison stops. And because the Sega Master System was designed primarily as a means by which Sega could port a lot of their popular arcade games at the time, this isn't one of them that they had really lined up for that. This was an entirely new paradigm for Sega, in that they needed to come up with something that would represent what they wanted this console to be going forward. And it actually proved to be very much to Sega's benefit. It was a very popular game, although I just died here. It was very highly received critically. The thing I was not aware of in researching this game was that it actually had a lot of connections to a title that, had it been allowed to go through, would have likely made it considerably more popular. This was originally designed to be a Dragon Ball game. And when I say a Dragon Ball game, this was going to be very much a game based on, now I should say, sadly, the late Akira Toriyama's eponymous world of Dragon Ball. Now, we come into this shop and we're able to buy certain things. So we can buy a motorcycle, we can buy a ring, or we can buy a mystery box. I'm just going to go ahead and buy a motorcycle, because why the heck not? Oop, except we lost it. Well, we didn't have the motorbike for long. We want to avoid the scorpions for sure. Oh, and we dropped right into the GAC. And I believe that is the end of our journey. Yep. So now we have to start all the way back over at the beginning. And again, work our way from here back through these 17 stages. Now, you could ask me, and it would be a valid question, why in the world would I want to play a game that is this repetitive? Well, if you think about it, and I'm not being completely insane by saying this, what is ultimately the difference in a game like this to a game like, say, Dark Souls? How many times did I die in the course of playing Dark Souls Remastered and ultimately had to go back and find the right way to navigate through the levels that I was stuck with? Which means there's a right way and a wrong way to do this, obviously. And the only way you're going to really know is through trial and error. So in that respect, it's got actually more in common with a modern game than you may think. Even though this game is now closing in on 40 years old. Now, when it came out, it was really, really well received, like I said. In 1987, a French magazine, Generation 4, gave it a highly positive review of 99%. Sega Pro gave it 95%. Computer and Video Game Magazine, 87%. Its aggregate ranking still to this day on Game Rankings is 80%. Which is not bad, given how long a life it has had. And we're back in the drink again. Now, I will tell you that the controls are a bit clunky, especially here in the water. Because Alex, his natural tendency is to want to go up, which is similar to what you had to deal with when you were playing Super Mario Brothers and Mario or Luigi was in the drink and you came out of an obstacle, they wanted to go up as well. So you got to kind of lean into that as you are trying to get your way through this water. There, get rid of Frog Boy here. And wait for this floating barracuda to show up. Now let's see if I can get some of these items here. Oh god, I don't want that. So if you pull up a ghost or whatever that specter is and it comes after you and touches you, you're dead. There's no real way to avoid it. And unfortunately, that's one of the risks you take hitting one of those question mark boxes. But we managed to make our way out and into level 2. Now, a remake of this game called Alex Kidd Miracle World DX was announced in June 2020. It was released in 2021. And it was developed along with Merge and Jenkin team for the Switch, the PS4, the PS5, Windows, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X/S. And it's not very often that you get a game like this that has that sort of longevity or sparks a revisit to it this much later. It really isn't as common as you think. So I think as long as we avoid the red bubbles, we're okay. Nope. Ran into the scorpions and that was it. So we still haven't gotten through level 2 yet. When IGN reviewed this game in 2008, they gave it a 9 out of 10 and an Editor's Choice Award, calling it, quote, an exceptional platformer with loads of action and some great puzzle-solving challenges that still holds up remarkably well. I'm inclined to agree with that, but part of the issue and part of the reason why I don't know if this is a game that I could play long-term is because you're so limited in what you're able to do over the course of 3 lives. Again, you've got to make it through 17 levels and finish the game in just 3 lives. I don't know if it's possible to get any more than that in the course of the game, or if you are stuck doing it. Now, apparently there is a cheat code that allows you to continue on the level you're at a cost of some of the money you've accumulated. And what that is you've got to hold the up button. You press directional pad up and pressing the number 2 button 8 times. The only problem being is that because I'm playing on an Xbox controller, I'm not entirely sure which button is button 2. And I dropped right off of the back of that dragon. And back into the pond we go. And then it does take a minute for this section of the level to load is a little annoying. I tried to swim right over my head. Oh, and I punched him. Alright, I'll sit right here. I'll wait for this big boy to come on back. I'll knock him out. And instead of dealing with that specter that's down there in that message or that question box, I'll just work my way through to the next level. Now, the whole point of this game is that a villain known as Jankin the Great, who defeated the King Thunder of the city of Redaxian, kidnapped his son Prince Eagle, and his fiancée. Discovering that he is the lost son of King Thunder, Alex has to go and rescue everybody and save the kingdom. So, if you're a bit confused as to the storyline in this, I don't blame you, because it can be a bit confusing. I think instead of getting the motorcycle this time, I'm going to go and get this. I don't know what it is. And I'll get the rig. And I don't know what it is either. Now, you can only punch one way. It's a bit frustrating because it means you've got to time your jump just right. And the Sega Master System controller was never really the most responsive one that I know of. Oh, and I jumped and punched. Alright, so we're still matriculating our way through level 2 here. And the problem is if you get to the game over screen, you've got only a very, very short amount of time to enter in that code of pressing up and hitting button 2 8 times in the hope that that will set it off and you'll be able to carry on where you left off. The Konami code, it is not. Let's see if we can get through this in one shot, shall we? Ah! I got right here and I thought I hit him. There we go. Okay, so we made it to level 2 again. And we don't have enough for anything here. Alright, so it's a matter of avoiding the scorpions. And then jumping right onto the frogs. No, it's not what I wanted to do. Alex jumps so much further. I try to be able to make that work. Let's see here. I want to hit that. I don't want to hit that box. It launched the Spectre. I didn't want that. There's another one sitting right there in that box. I got to be careful. Okay, come over this way. And I knew I was going to fall on that dragon. I just knew it. Now, I can't jump back out of the water to be able to get that stuff, which is a bit annoying. Ooh, be careful, Alex. Alright. At least I'm getting better enough that I can get to this stuff. Now I just gotta be able to get through this level. We've got 160, so... I think I will buy the ring. Again, I don't know what it does, if that helps me out. There we go. No! I jumped into the gack again. It's like Alex only has 2 real control. Oh! It's not what I wanted. Because he's so quick to jump and skip multiple blocks. Alright, we'll try one more time since we're at 20 minutes. See if we can get to the third level at least. Oh, crap. Yep, I can't kill him. I had myself stuck in a corner for sure. Don't you fly away with my money. It's my money. Okay, back in the pond we are. Come over this way. And I still punched that guy right in the face and it still didn't take him out. That's really annoying. I gotta watch out for those bubbles, too. Oh, the bubbles got me. Alright, well, that's about as far as we got in Nears Makes No Difference 25 minutes. So, that, everybody, is Alex Kidd in Miracle World. I'm sorry that you didn't see more of it, but this is not an easy game, especially if you're somebody like me who did not play it back in the day and does not have a whole lot of familiarity with the mechanics of it or how to really successfully find ways to circumnavigate each zone. That said, is it a good game? I think for the time, with the popularity that it has, it's garnered enough critical acclaim that it certainly could be, but is it a game that's aged well? No. I think that because the design of the game is a bit harder than it needs to be, because you've only got 3 lives to navigate your way through 17 levels. I don't know if you can get extra guys. The reset code at the end, you've got to be able to really be on top of that. And I don't even know if that's going to help you get back to where you started or not. But I'm curious to know if the later versions and the remake that came out a couple years ago, if they corrected a lot of those issues. If they did, then maybe that's a game I'll check out. But the thing is that for the time, this was actually very typical of most platform games for a lot of consoles. I mean, if you think about it, how much different is this to the original Mega Man or Mega Man 2? It isn't. That's the amazing thing, is that in terms of difficulty and gameplay, it's not that much different. And that's one of the things where you can look at games nowadays and say, oh, well, they're really easy, or games back then in the 80s and 90s were a lot harder than they had any right to be, and they were. They were challenging games. And it was on you as a gamer to, for the modern day equivalent, get good enough to figure out how to beat it. This seems to be a prime candidate for that. Does that mean that it has aged poorly? Not really. I mean, the graphics aren't great, sure, but they could be a lot worse. I've played quite a few games where the graphics really impede your ability to play the game. But also, the Sega Master System did not have as much going for it as the NES did at the time, which is why it was not anywhere near as popular as the NES during its lifespan. But if there's a game you've played and you've enjoyed it, let me know. Drop me a comment. What's been your experience with Alex Kidd in Miracle World? They did a lot of other titles for Alex Kidd, both on the Master System and in subsequent consoles. But Alex Kidd in Miracle World, as far as I know, was far and away the most popular and well-received of the bunch. So, but that, everybody, is Sucker Punch Sunday for this week. If you've been enjoying the content, as always, best way you can show it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and ring the bell to be notified of new episodes. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We will have a One New Day playthrough, as well as a WTF Wednesday coming up this week. And I do hope you tuned in for Sports Saturday yesterday, where we went back 40 years ago again and played in honor of opening weekend of officially Major League Baseball. We played the NES baseball version, which is the original one that actually turned out to be a more of a surprise hit for Nintendo than I think they anticipated when they made it back in the mid-'80s. So be sure to spread the word about us as well. Follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Retrocade. Faster we can build our subscriber base, the more content we can bring you and the better stuff we can bring you. And it's all about trying to get this community who celebrates the golden age of gaming between the 1980s and the 2010s. If there's a game you'd like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on social media. It can be any game from those consoles you want, guys. My name is Ronan. It's been great to spend this Sucker Punch Sunday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow for a one-day playthrough. Bye.